Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Julio Figueroa, Head of Latin America at Citi.
Thank you. So this will be the last session before lunch, so I hope everybody's really paying attention. So good afternoon and welcome everyone to this highly anticipated session at the Council of the Americas Symposium. Today, we will dig into a remarkable success story that has reshaped the entire Latin America region. We are incredibly excited. This Bravo Leadership Conversation, 25 years of innovation, inclusion, and impact with Mercado Libre. For a quarter century, Mercado Libre has not just participated in Latin America digital transformation, it has led it, driving innovation, inclusion, and opportunity across the region. Their journey from transforming how people buy, sell, and pay to building one of the most powerful tech ecosystems has created a profound positive impact of millions of lives. Today, Mercado Libre is the largest company in Latin America, has operational footprint in 18 countries, as well as a global selling program allowing sellers from outside Latin America markets to sell into our countries. Their distinctive approach, marked by an entrepreneurial spirit, relentless innovation, and a constant dedication to empowering communities, has solidified their unparalleled impact across Latin America, with us Citi being a very, very proud partner of Mercado Libre. So, joining us today to reflect this extraordinary 25-year journey and share insights into Mercado Libre's unstoppable rise, we have two exceptional leaders. First, please welcome Ariel Szarfsztejn, President of Commerce and incoming CEO of Mercado Libre. Ariel. And leading this insightful conversation, we are honored to have Susan Segal, President and CEO of Americas Society, Council of the Americas. Please give them a warm welcome. Thank you, Susan.
Gracias. Thank you, Julio, and thank you all. We're the last thing that stands between you and lunch. And so if we didn't have Ariel, the place would be completely empty. So this is a real pleasure to welcome Ariel Szarfsztejn, the President of Commerce and the incoming CEO of Mercado Libre. And I want to emphasize what Julio said. It is the most valuable company in Latin America. And what also sets MELI apart is that there has been no government intervention or anything along the 25-year journey. This is a truly independent, private sector, innovative company. And Ariel is quite unique. He joined the company in 2017. And he has played a central role. I've been lucky enough to watch it, shaping the company's growth and leading the strategy and corporate development to overseeing logistics and fulfillment through some of our most transformative years. Most people don't realize what MELI is. It is not just a marketplace. It is a logistics hub. It is a bank, a fintech. It is an insurance tech. It is everything you can possibly think of, and we'll come back to that. So one other comment before I ask Ariel the first question. Of course, this again is a visionary move by Marcos Galperin to make a generational change and appoint Ariel as CEO. And he will take over officially, although, as he said to me, he's already acting as CEO today. So you've been at MELI for several years. Tell us more about how you see the transformation of MELI over the last years that you've been here.
So I thank you, Susan, for having me here, Council of the Americas, for inviting me. It's a real pleasure. I think the Mercado Libre that I joined 9 years ago is extremely different from the Mercado Libre that we have today. We were a bits and bytes company at the time. We had no wallet nor fintech banking type of platform at the moment. We were only processing payments online in the marketplace and outside of the marketplace, starting to sell mobile POSs, and that was it. At the moment, we were not touching a single package from anything sold in Mercado Libre. So everything was either handed over from seller to buyer directly or flowing through the national post office of Brazil, Argentina, and so on. So I joined Meli in 2017 to lead strategy, and one of the first things I told Marcos and Pedro, who was the CFO at the time, is there are two things that we need to do right in the coming 5 years in order to succeed. We need to build a digital wallet that will be key to transform financial services in the region, and we need to build a logistics network if we want to really compete against Amazon, who was coming into Latin America, in Mexico, Brazil, and so on. So I spent a few months helping them design this idea, particularly focused on logistics, and less than a year in the job, Marcos told me, okay, you've prepared a great PowerPoint on how the logistics network should look like. Why don't you put up your sleeves and actually do something and take over and lead the setup of that logistics infrastructure? So I moved into logistics. There were 60 employees total in logistics at the moment. Today we have 70,000 employees in logistics. It's only 6 years later. And going back to your point on who we are, Mercado Libre, if you look at items sold or GMV, is probably the biggest or one of the two biggest retailers in Latin America, but we don't think of ourselves as a retailer. By many, many KPIs, we are the biggest fintech in Latin America, but we don't think of ourselves as a bank. And we're probably the biggest logistics employer in Latin America, but we don't think of ourselves as a logistics 3PL. I think we are a product and tech company who is obsessed with changing the lives of Latin America, who is obsessed with democratizing commerce and financial services. And that's here what we are here for.
So talk about, this isn't in the script, but talk about the logistics, because when you go to a distribution center at Meli, it's extraordinary. And you are taking young people out of high school and training them. And you're one of the largest employers in Latin America. Talk a little bit about that, because I think that's so important to the future of the continent.
So if you look at our footprint, we have hundreds of warehouses, different sizes across the region. Most of them are in Brazil and Mexico. Out of them, you have like small, relatively small distribution centers, 50,000 square feet. But then you have many, and I think tens of warehouses of the size of 1 million square feet or 100,000 square meters deployed in the region. And to your point on who is working there, at some point when we opened our first one, we said, okay, who do we want to work in this warehouse? Do we want to hire people with experience in logistics and people who know how and what to do? And we said, no, this is not the Mercado Libre style. We will hire people who will A, vibrate with our mission and our purpose, B, who will learn on the job with us. And we decided to go after, young people, first time or first employment. 65% of the people that work in our network get their first employment in a Mercado Libre facility. 55% of them are women. So the energy and the vibe that you can feel inside the Mercado Libre warehouse is just amazing. This is people who are very proud of working in a warehouse, who really feel the need to fulfill the customer expectation. Because behind every package, there's a click, and behind the click, there is a dream of somebody getting their items fast to their doorstep. So that's a bit on the magic that happens when you order something in Meli.
So you mentioned culture. And, I've been with Meli I've known Meli since the beginning. And the culture, in many ways, hasn't changed. You're a big company, but have a mentality of an early stage company in some ways, in terms of your drive, your innovation, your desire to win. talk about how you continue that kind of culture as you become larger and you're across so many geographies.
I think what I just described with the way we hire people for our warehouses is a good example of how we think about culture. So we have this culture in which we prioritize execution versus strategy, in which we want to be disruptive, in which we want to be constantly changing the way we do things. We want to be disruptive and take risks and assume the responsibility that we have given our size. And there's one and only one way of doing that in our view, which is not necessarily putting in the walls of our offices, these are our principal cultural principles and so on. We hire, we fire, we promote people based on cultural fit. We lead by example. So from Marcos Galperin, who has been with us from day one until today, and he will continue to be as executive chairman, to every single one in the management team, we really breathe those cultural principles, and it is impossible to find somebody in a leadership role within Mercado Libre who does not really feel that type of culture really inside, right?
So AI. Tell us about AI in Mercado Libre, and is that going to change the culture of the company, in your opinion?
I think we are a tech company, going back to what I was saying before, and AI is tech, right? So it's what we vibrate with, it's what we like. We've been using AI for many years, 15 years or more. Machine learning, neural networks, and so on, and LLMs is another version of AI, but I see AI being applied in Mercado Libre basically in four different ways. Efficiencies. So we are already capturing many efficiencies using AI. I always give this example in which 3 years back, we used to have 10,000 people working in our customer support center, taking calls or chats from our customers. So over the last 3 years, our business has grown, 50% year over year. That means that the number of cases and claims that we have to take has increased by a lot, but we're actually decreasing the number of people taking calls, and that's because we are using AI to answer customer phone calls or respond chats and so on. So that's really happening. And the same example I could give you in legal, in accounting. So we are using AI to improve productivity and to help our employees do more across the organization. B is developers. So all of our developers are using AI to improve their coding skills. 20% of the new code generated in Mercado Libre is coming or generated with AI, but 95% of our developers are using some type of tools in order to help them code better, test better, do faster, and with better quality, pull requests or lines of code. The third pillar is improving our value proposition for our customer. So we have deployed many features using AI. We have improved our search algorithms in our platform. We have improved the pictures in the product page. We have improved reviews, and we're offering you summaries of reviews and so on. So many examples in commerce and in fintech of using AI to generate better experience for our users. And the fourth one is the agentic experience using AI, and that's something that is too early. The technology is evolving so fast that it's not clear how will this play out, but we are definitely working and deploying agentic features into our Mercado Pago application and Mercado Libre application, and we are really excited with the early progress that we see there.
So are you training the team in AI, or talk a little bit about...
That's a great question, because we constantly get this tension between centralizing and training and controlling everything versus decentralizing and letting everyone test and learn. We're actually going with both. So we have a centralized AI team that is training from the very top, like Marcos Galperin, myself. We spent a day a month ago, and we're spending a day next week training in new models and new tools and so on, and we're doing that with every single layer of the organization. That same team is also testing, learning new tools and making them available for the whole team. So you have a platform today, centralized platform, where you get all the models, all the tools behind the models, and you can just pick, choose, and use whatever you think it's worth doing. And then we're encouraging people to test, to learn, and to do better things with AI in a decentralized fashion. So we are generating incentives, hackathons, activities in order for everyone to be testing some of the different tools that are out there as to become more productive, as to change the life of a user, a seller, etc.
So talk a little bit, I mean, Meli has this incredible commerce platform, and we're growing leaps and bounds in fintech and everything else that we touch and we do. How do you balance all the demands and decide what should happen and what shouldn't happen?
I think deciding what not to do is probably one of the toughest but most important things that we have as leaders in the organization, because we have so many things that we would love to execute today, and we don't have the broadband in order to do all of that. And the opportunity is huge, right? So if you look at e-commerce, online penetration of retail in Latin America is today 10 years behind what it is in the US, and probably 15 years behind what it is in Asia today. So we had last year 100 million unique buyers in Mercado Libre out of a 600 million people population in Latam. So we have so many things to continue gaining share and growing our business. So we need to be disciplined and think really smartly on capital allocation and particularly developer allocation. And with fintech, it's even bigger, right? So financial inclusion in Latin America is absolutely something that is kind of a debt, right? So if you take Mexico, for example, 50% of the people don't have a bank account. 15% of the people have a credit card, so 85% of people don't have a credit card. And we feel that we are the protagonists of that inclusion and that process. So allocating developers behind those two initiatives and behind retail media and advertising is the key priority that we have. And we try to leave aside anything that can be tempting, that can be interesting, but would be a distraction in order to make this happen.
Yeah, and one of the things I admire about Meli is, in fact, you have disrupted traditional banking. So you're lending to small and medium-sized companies that no one would lend to before, in the marketplace and outside of the marketplace.
Yes.
And so this is just...
So 2 examples of banking disruption. Back in 2017, when I joined Mercado Libre, Marcos Galperin came to me and he said, I want to remunerate deposits in Argentina. I want to give away our float on Mercado Pago. I want people to get earnings from the money that they leave in our account. And we said, are you sure? Yeah, please do the math. And I was leading strategy. So with my team, we started working on this idea, and we realized that we were going to lose money with that, but the impact in the region could be huge. At the time, total population of Argentina was 40 million. Only 400,000 people were investing money in an investment product, any investment product in the country. We launched our remunerated account. Today we have 18 million people investing money in our business only in Argentina. And that's the type of things that traditional banks were not doing in the country. Absolutely. And the same happens with credit. We are lending money to many small and medium businesses. Most of them get their first credit line in their lives coming from Mercado Libre. And we can do that because we know them. We have data, we have algorithms, we have technology to process and understand them differently. And we have the appetite to do the right thing in terms of inclusion, which puts us in a great position to continue, transforming the region.
So as you look over the past 9 years that you've been at Meli, what has been your biggest challenge and your most defining moment?
It's hard, right? Because every single day in Mercado Libre feels like a challenge and a defining moment. I think it was probably taking over the buildup of the logistics network. What I was telling you before. So when Marcos and Juan Martin came to me and asked me to take over the buildup, I told them, I know nothing about logistics. Are you sure I am the guy who should build this whole thing and run this machinery? And they told me, look, We care about somebody who can learn and who can live with our cultural principles. I'm sure you will learn about logistics. I'm sure you will hire whoever you think it's worth hiring in order to make it happen. So I took over that 60 people team, took it to 75,000, as I was telling you before. But more importantly, I think we completely shifted the experience of buying in Mercado Libre,
Yes, absolutely.
coming from, I don't know, buying something, waiting 6 days, that in case you were lucky, you were going to get your package on time, to buying in the morning, getting in the afternoon with 100% confidence that will happen. And I think that's pretty powerful.
That's very powerful, and you do it across most countries,
Yes.
which is even more incredible.
It is.
So you're inheriting a company with an amazing 25-year legacy, a company that is loved, but hated in Latin America, loved by me.
I like to think that it's loved more than hated.
Loved, but what do you want your legacy for the next 25 years to be?
I'll be 100% honest, and maybe it's not politely or politically correct to say it, but I don't have an obsession, or I don't spend too much time on my legacy. You know, we had an amazing quarter of a century, and I think the opportunity for the next quarter is equally big or actually bigger than the one we had. So my obsession is to do the right thing, to take Mercado Libre to the next level, to capture all these opportunities that are there. And then my legacy will come on its own. When I took over logistics, I did not think of this as my potential opportunity to grow in the organization. I just wanted to make the right call for our users. And that's the same way I'm feeling with this transition. It's a privilege, it's an honor, it's a great opportunity. I have an amazing team that has been working with Meli for 20 plus years. And having Marcos working close by, because he will stay, it's also a huge opportunity for me. So I'm very far from being concerned on my legacy.
So hated was the wrong word, but you have many more challenges with regulators, with risk, with competitors that are entering the market every day. How do you look at that?
I think we get energized by competition. Mm-hmm. So Brazil is probably the most competitive scenario in e-commerce in the world. You have local players, local retailers trying to defend their position. You have American players, e-commerce players coming into or operating in the region and reinvesting and doubling down on their bet. You have Chinese players coming into Latin America in different forms. You have some who are operating locally, some who are doing cross-border. So it's really fun, right? But I've always said we would not be the Mercado Libre that we are today if it were not because of Amazon coming into Mexico back in 2015. I think that pushed us to continue innovating. It got our competitive spirit from the inside and forced us to deploy the best of each of us and to invest behind the right things. And that's still the case today when you see what others are doing. I think competition really makes the most out of our own teams.
Your biggest challenge and biggest opportunity over the next, call it 2 years?
I think for sure the biggest opportunity is fintech. Fintech is I mean, we can double the size of our e-commerce business in the coming 5-10 years, and that will be amazing. But the opportunity in fintech is so much, so bigger, right? So much big in terms of generating this inclusion. We are just too small compared to what we should. I was just talking about Mexico, right? Generating or including all these people into the system. The loan to GDP ratio in Mexico is 6%. 6%. So imagine if we can do something to turn that around and really change the equation on Mexican getting access to credit cards, to credit books, personal loans, digital accounts, and so on, to digitalize payments, right? And that's just one example. In Brazil, the same thing. You have $200 billion invested or being held in Poupança accounts, which pay 65% of CDI in return. 200 billion, right? So the opportunity, however you look at it, is huge. 4 banks hold, I don't know, 60% of market share in Brazil, so we have many things and many opportunities to add value in the country, and the same happens in Argentina, Chile, Colombia, so on. So really excited.
So in our last 25 seconds, what is the best advice you've received from Marcos, the executive team, and I guess the board going forward?
I think the best advice I got was, I mean, they all, including you, Susan, told me and gave me your back, your support, and you all said, do the right thing, be calm, don't get too, crazy about this transition, just continue doing what you've been doing, and you will be okay, and that's what I'm trying to do.
I want to thank you, Ariel, for this amazing conversation. I want to wish you luck, and one more time, the company has done, and Marcos has done just an amazing job in choosing you
Susan,
as the next CEO. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Ladies